What is up, YouTube? It is Baseball Nerd back with another MLB video. Today's video, I got my idea from Instagram. I follow MLB, as probably all of you do, and they were posting this new post about every duo, the top duos in baseball, and they were all offensive duos, but the best duo from each team, and then ranking them off of the projected WAR for next season. So I decided let's make a video about it. Let's go over their projected top duos in baseball, and then give our projected top duos in baseball. Theirs looks strictly based off of WAR projections for next year, and obviously that doesn't account for everything. I mean, it's a pretty good projection overall, but we don't know exactly how everything will play out, injuries, this or that. So I have my own predictions for the top 10 and then a couple honorable mentions as they did. I'll give you their list first and the WAR totals, and then we'll go into my list. So starting us off for their list at technically number 13, but their first honorable mention is the Phillies, JT Realmuto and Bryce Harper combining for a 7.3 WAR together, and that's a pretty good projection for them, 7.3, so both around 3.5, 3.6-ish, I guess. That's pretty good for them. Next at number 12 was Yasmani Grandal and Eloy Jimenez of the White Sox at 7.6. And then also at 7.6, technically number 11/12 with them would be Francisco Lindor and Michael Conforto of the New York Mets. That one might be a little bit low, but I see how it's kind of tricky to predict that stuff. Francisco Lindor is obviously a beast. Yasmani Grandal and Eloy Jimenez. I was kind of surprised that they picked Eloy. I guess his projected WAR is the highest, second highest, or the highest for the White Sox, which kind of surprised me considering they have the AL MVP of last year on their team, and they do have a lot of other good players. Luis Robert coming up and playing super well, as well as Tim Anderson, who's been a beast, and then Yoan Moncada had a down year. So we'll see. But I'll get straight into their actual top 10. And the first one on their list, number 10, is the Mats in Oakland. Matt Olson and Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman having a 4.9 projected WAR and Olson with a 3.1, giving them a total of 8. And if you look at them, man, looking at their defense, both won Gold Gloves in 2018 and 2019. If Chapman wasn't hurt last year, he would have had a good chance at winning it again. And Olson kind of got snubbed, not going to lie there. And then offensively, Matt Chapman's really stepped up the last couple years, and Olson's just, a home run machine and can actually hit pretty well. He has really good power, but can hit decently against lefties as well, which is normally something that holds back big lefty bats. 103 home runs in his 400 games played as a big leaguer. So both guys got pop. Really, really good defense. Might be the arguably best first-third combo in the league, but we'll get to that later. Number 9 for their rankings, they have the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge projected at a 4.3 WAR and DJ LeMahieu projected at 3.8. And I think the biggest thing here we got to look at is just the healthiness of Judge. It's what everyone comes to. Is he going to be healthy? And I understand that. I understand, he may be healthy, he may not be healthy. If he's healthy, he's a beast. I almost would want DJ LeMahieu's projected WAR to be higher here. I think he's been the best Yankee player. I mean, they got Stanton and Judge, but then they come and get DJ, no one really talks about him, and he's been the best Yankee the last 2 seasons. So, nothing too bad there, but I know Judge can do very well, so I'm not going to gripe about it. Next, this one kind of surprised me. The Red Sox, Rafael Devers with a 4.3 WAR and Xander Bogaerts, with a 4.2, giving them a projected 8.5 together. Kind of surprised here, but they both have very good slash lines since 2018. 307, 379, 542 for Bogaerts, and then 298, 348, 536 for Devers. And one of the better shortstop third base combos since we lost Lindor and Jose Ramirez. He went to the Mets. We've lost Arenado and Story now, as Arenado's a Cardinal. We might lose JT, Justin Turner, and Corey Seager for the Dodgers. Just a lot of guys moving around. Marcus Semien and Matt Chapman are no longer playing side by side. So we've lost a lot of short third combos. They might be one of the better ones in the league now. Coming in at number 7 now for them, they have the Blue Jays with George Springer projected to get a 4.5 WAR and Bo Bichette projected for a 4.1, giving them a total of 8.6. Bo looked like a beast. They add one of the best hitters, one of the best postseason hitters as well, in George Springer to fill a much-needed position in center field. It looks like a pretty good prediction in my point of view. I think that's a very good one for them. They look like studs. Number 6, moving right along, we got the Braves. Ronald Acuna with a projected 5.3 and Freddie Freeman with a projected 4.4, giving them a total of 9.7. It's pretty good when your reigning NL MVP is on your team and he's still not even projected to have the highest WAR on your team. You know your team's looking pretty stacked. So Ronald Acuna could definitely be one of the best players in baseball, along with Freddie Freeman, in my opinion, one of the most underrated. He had one of his best seasons last year. It was a COVID 60-game season, but if he improves on that or stays anywhere near that, they'll be very solid and probably be in the top 5 as a duo. Number 4, we have a tie between the Astros, Alex Bregman with a 5.9 projected WAR, and Carlos Correa with a 4 flat. And then the Nationals have the same exact numbers with Juan Soto at 5.9 and Trey Turner at 4.0. And that combines each of those teams 9.9 for their WARs. Very, very good teams here. Bregman and Carlos Correa have been good. Kind of down year last year. COVID season, the whole cheating scandal might have played into it. And then Juan Soto's been a beast. He's been one of the greatest hitters in baseball since he came up. He's been so young and done so well. It's insane. And Trey Turner, super underrated, with his speed, with his defense, high contact, and he had a pretty good power last year too. Was COVID season, but dude's got pop as well. Moving right along, we got number 3 for them. They put in the Padres, Fernando Tatis at 5.9 projected, and Manny Machado 4.6, giving them a total of 10.5. This may be probably the best third short left side of the infield combo in the league. These guys both rake and they play super, super well on the defensive side as well. So, and you got Tatis on the base path. So overall, just an insane duo. Number 3, very, very deserved. Number 2, we have the Dodgers with Mookie Betts projected at 5.7 and Bellinger projected at a 5.6, giving them a total of 11.3, excuse me. They won the World Series last year. They probably have, I think Corey Seager's projected to get a 5.3, but he was better than Belly last year. So if him and Mookie Betts, they could easily be the best duo in baseball, or Bellinger. That's the craziest thing here, is they have 3 guys that could be interchangeable for this duo. You don't know what you're going to get next year. So not a surprise to find them there at number 2. And number 1, this one's a little top heavy because of probably not arguably, the best player in baseball. The Angels coming in with Mike Trout at a 7.1 WAR and Anthony Rendon at a 5.3, giving them a total of 12.4. Best player in baseball. He really, really adds an extra, couple points right there with Mike Trout to put them over the edge against the Dodgers. And I realize that after Rendon, the drop-off's probably a little different. So the Dodgers definitely are the better team. This doesn't mean that the Angels are better because they have the best duo on paper. It's Trout carrying most of the weight, but adding Rendon last year, this is why it helps. But now let's go look at what I would predict to be the top duos in baseball. So for the honorable mentions, I kept it pretty much the same. I got the Phillies, the White Sox, and then the Mets with those same duos, except for the White Sox. Coming in at number 12, I changed it to Grandal and Jose Abreu. I almost changed it to Luis Robert and Jose Abreu, but I like this Grandal and Abreu matchup. I think they're both insane hitters. And I think Jose Abreu is one of the most underrated people in baseball. I think him and Freddie Freeman finally got some good nods last year after winning the MVP, but then a lot of the predictions coming into this next season seem to be kind of putting them low again. So I hope they prove people wrong once again in a full season and show that off. So those are my honorable mentions: 13 Phillies, 12 White Sox, 11 New York Mets. Coming in at number 10, I have a tie between George Springer and Bo Bichette to go with the Boston Red Sox, Rafael Devers and Xander Bogaerts. I think Bogart's defense is pretty bad, but the bat between him and Devers is just insane, and I think the Red Sox got better this offseason, a little more protection in the lineup, so I think they'll do very well this season. And then Springer and Bo Bichette, we already know what they're going to do. I just want to see how Springer plays in Toronto and how he does coming off of last year with all the Astro stuff. Hopefully he can let it all go and just be himself, and they could play super well together. And then Bo Bichette's still really young, so I want to see him continue to progress. Number 9, I have Matt Olson and Matt Chapman. I think losing Simeon and some of their bullpen stuff like that is overall going to hurt the team a little bit. I think they're going to be fine, but I also want to see Chapman coming off that injury and see if he will be, the Chapman of old. I don't have any worries there, but yeah. Coming in at number 8, I have Aaron Judge and DJ LeMahieu. I moved them up one spot, mainly for DJ in my opinion. I think Judge, you can keep him there because the question marks with his health. Hopefully he comes in healthy and plays a full season and does his thing. But DJ LeMahieu, I think, is super underrated. Dude's just a beast. His average, I think, was like 346 last year. He's just a hitting machine, and he still has some pretty good power, especially playing at Yankee Stadium. Number 7, I have Alex Bregman and Carlos Correa. I think they are still a very good duo. Maybe some of Carlos Correa looming in free agency next year. I don't know if that'll help or hurt him, make him play harder and do better, or put too much pressure on him. I don't know, but we will see. I think having them at 7 is very fair. And then number 6, I added a duo that wasn't even on the list for projected WAR, and I feel like this is kind of crazy to me that they weren't in the top 10 or at least in the honorable mentions. But at number 6, I have Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. I don't know how the WAR exactly comes out for these guys. I haven't looked yet, but just looking at their name value, I think Arenado will be fine leaving Colorado. I think some people take the Coors effect way too much into account. And, they don't take any of the cons. They just take what they think are the pros, which is, you hit the ball farther sometimes, like whatever. Dude's going to be a beast. There's a lot more to that. And then Goldschmidt there at first, I think it will help him having a little more protection in the lineup, with not really him being the mainstay in the lineup. There's Carlson and some of those other guys step up and play even better and progress. And then adding Arenado, he's got a little more protection. I think he will do great. And then their lockdown defense. Coming in at number 5, I have Freddie Freeman and Ronald Acuna. I think that, like I said earlier, you add an NL MVP along with a guy that's projected to do even better and is only 22 years old and has been a stud. I think that's very fair that they will be the top 5 duos. Number 4, just moving them one down, is Tatis and Manny Machado. I think they're studly. I think they will do great. But we have not seen Tatis play a whole 162-game season. Obviously, he's not going to play 162 games, but majority of that. So I think he's going to be fine. I'm not one of those guys that's complaining about it, but I just want to see that before I put him over these next 3. Number 3, I may get bashed for putting these guys right above Machado and Tatis, but I think Juan Soto and Trey Turner. And I think the reason is I think Trey Turner is somewhat undervalued by people with how well he's played the last several years. And then Juan Soto, I think, can do kind of what Mike Trout's doing with Anthony Rendon and just giving like an extra push to put them over the edge. He's a stud. He's, doesn't have as much protection in the lineup since Rendon left and has still been very good. And now he'll get Josh Bell to help him maybe give a little more protection, maybe more RBI situations. I don't even know. But I think that will definitely not hurt him. And he's so young and is getting better every year. So I think he will really take off and could even put them into number 1 or 2. But number 2, Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger. I think Cody Bellinger will bounce back from last year's down season and play great. And I think Corey Seager will still be great, but maybe not as good as Cody Bellinger. So I think those 2 will be the best, and I think Mookie Betts is going to have another Mookie Betts season. And then number 1, Anthony Rendon and Mike Trout. Probably going to flip that, but Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, doesn't matter. We all know Mike Trout's the best player in baseball. I think he will have a very, very good season this year. I think he was having his son born last year, COVID, 60-game season, all that stuff probably put some stress on him. I think he didn't even have a bad season, but just with all that stuff going away and just being able to play, those are the top duos I'm going to give, in my opinion. There's obviously some people that can move up and down. Lindor and Conforto, or it could be Lindor and Pete Alonso. I thought about that. I'm like, well, maybe they could go off and they can move up in this list. But I'm pretty confident in my list. I like this list. I'm happy MLB made that post, so it got me thinking about it, and I could post this video for you guys looking at the best duos. Down below, let me know in the comments who you guys think is the best duo in baseball and who will be the best duo in baseball this upcoming 2021 season. And I will read them and I will comment back. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.